Americans seem to be always restless and frustrated in the current economic climate. Even though we're just 4 months into 2022, we're already on the verge of another recession. We've never really recovered from the financial hardship caused by the health issue back in 2020. The cost of everything is much higher, from food to gasoline, to electronics, to furniture, to energy, to housing, and the economy is rapidly contracting as a result. Consumers in the US are growing weary of the effects of rising inflation. Our supply chains continue to be a complete disaster. Consumer demand continues to exceed the system's ability to produce more supplies, and shortages are seriously distorting the market. With all of that in mind, it makes sense that every new poll study and indicator of consumer mood reveals that Americans are growing increasingly pessimistic about the future of their country. As the cost of living rises, but wages stay stagnant, millions of hardworking Americans who have sacrificed everything to create a decent existence for themselves and their families are now witnessing a steady decline in their standard of living. Workers who have always done the right thing are now discovering they might never be able to buy a home and that they probably won't ever have the chance to retire properly. Currently, the state of the labor market is so dire that during the previous 12 months, approximately 4 million employees have just departed their employment, claiming a lack of promotion prospects, low income, and an increasing sense of disdain. The general US population is really concerned about their financial situation. Many people are trying to figure out how they'll be able to pay their mortgage, along with all of their other monthly payments, manage to put 3 meals on the table each day. In the meantime, there is a decreasing number of good positions available. Currently, more than half of all job opportunities pay low salaries, and given that an increasing number of new employment are being created that pay even less, it is more difficult to locate suitable employment that can provide for a family's fundamental needs. The majority of our production is now outsourced to markets abroad. In the process, millions of middle-class jobs disappeared. Saving rates have fallen to their lowest point in decades. And as a result, the typical household can no longer afford a new car, a reasonable health insurance plan, or unanticipated bills. Sadly, it seems that the American people are still hoping and expecting for a change. Instead, they will experience new waves of hopelessness and frustration. People are starting to become anxious as our catastrophic economic decline quickens. Many of us already sense that something seriously wrong. In contemporary US history, we have never experienced such a protracted economic downturn, and many people are beginning to panic about the impending collapse of our economy. When someone loses everything and has nothing left to lose, as Gerald Celente once stated, they lose it. Today, we've gathered 15 indications that Americans are starting to panic about the status of their economy. Welcome to 360 Economist. Please support us by giving this a thumbs up and becoming a subscriber to our channel so you don't miss our forthcoming lists. Number 1. The Consumer Mood Index from the University of Michigan shows that Americans are becoming more gloomy about the state of the economy. The index was at 84.9 in March 2021, indicating robust consumer mood at a time when a new wave of government stimulus had just begun. Today, that number has decreased by 30%, reaching at 59.4, the lowest value in 10 years, indicating an acutely deteriorating mood. Number 2. The report also reveals that 32% of Americans anticipate that 2022 will be significantly worse than 2021, and that 62.8% of Americans are concerned about how growing inflation. Number 3. Americans are uneasy about the state of the economy right now, and the possibility of further disruptions from the conflict between Russia and Ukraine is making them even more uneasy. Because of this, 67.2% of Americans predict that their financial situation will deteriorate in the coming year. Since the 1940s, this number has never been higher. Number 4. According to a recent Kaiser Family Foundation poll, rising prices are currently cited as the nation's top issue by 55% of Americans. Number 5. In terms of their own financial situations, 71 Americans expressed growing concerns about their ability to pay for gas and other transportation costs. 58 expressed worries about unforeseen medical expenses. 50% are concerned about the cost of monthly utility bills. And 47 are concerned about rising food prices. Number 6. About 51% of Americans say that they have delayed or forgone receiving some type of medical care in the past year due to the price involved. Number 7. According to a recent CBS poll, 6 out of 10 Americans believe the economy is in dire need of help. Number 8. According to research by the American Psychological Association, 87% of U.S. consumers cited food prices and supply chain problems associated with the Ukraine conflict as major sources of stress. In the 15 years that this survey has been done, this is the most people who have ever stated overwhelmed and stressed about any problem. Number 9. The poll also revealed that people are using unhealthy coping mechanisms to deal with the stress for the second year in a row. Alcohol consumption has increased for approximately a quarter of the responders as a coping strategy. Number 10. According to NPD Group data, at least 43% of consumers say they will have to put off major purchases if prices continue to rise. Number 11. In a recent poll conducted by market research firm Data Essential, 96% of Americans said they were struggling with the effects of rising inflation, while 48% said they had already begun to reduce their spending. Number 12. According to a survey by USA Today, 51% of Americans feel that the U.S. economy is in a recession or a depression, which is the most pessimistic perspective in 6 years. Number 13. Really strange thefts are currently being reported throughout the United States. Over the past month, a wave of gasoline theft has resulted in losses of hundreds of thousands of dollars, as thousands of thieves across the country have started drilling holes in people's gas tanks and siphoning them out, stealing enormous copper pipes from grocery carts and even an entire 58-foot bridge. Number 14. In the United States today, when inequality is out of control, consumer spending makes up about 70% of the nation's annual economic output. However, the highest 5% of income earners in the nation spend the same amount on consumer goods and services as the bottom 80% of earners. Number 15. According to a Deseret News study, 72% of Americans think that the country is headed in the wrong direction. The highest reported number is that because people's unhappiness and dissatisfaction with our society's major institutions seem to be growing every day. As it is more expensive to live here, government approval ratings are declining. Although there is significant disagreement among our people over how to solve our issues, practically everyone can agree that they are getting worse. It would be more than enough to drive someone completely insane to observe the chaos that exists in our markets, supply networks, hospitals, and streets. The United States used to be a powerful and resilient country, but today it is drowning in debt as thousands of stores close their doors. Financial markets are experiencing the largest asset bubbles in history. Working conditions are deteriorating. Poverty is exploding, and thousands of people may lose their homes this year as corporate greed and political corruption spread across the country. People are upset that the bulk of our so-called leaders don't appear to understand what they're doing or how their actions will affect our daily lives. It is understandable why people are losing hope in the country's future. When you see widespread corruption and deterioration everywhere you look, it might be difficult to maintain your faith. The ability to provide for our family and live simply and happily in our own homes was all we ever wanted. However, that opportunity has been taken away from us, leaving us to compete for the scraps while the wealthy profit from our toil. The United States is a diminishing power, and we need to start accepting this. There isn't a quick cure that some politician can introduce miraculously to undo the harm that has been done because of the long-term patterns that have brought us to where we are now have taken decades to develop. Years of negligent behavior are now starting to catch up with us. The repercussions of those activities will only make the American people more and more enraged. Thank you for watching. Please share this video and subscribe to our channel.